so you don't get your same-sex partner pregnant.
Yeah. So for those of you who've joined this section, we're going to go over safer sex supplies and safer use supplies. And we say safer because they're not considered making an activity safe. Abstinence is the one safe. However, safer is the reality of harm reduction, and it's that we try and make things as safe as possible. Because some people really like having sex, some people really like using, and they should have as much right to safety and access to care. So here we go with some safer sex supplies. We'll start first. So this is my friend Amanda, and they are here to kind of just engage so that questions can be asked and you can just kind of watch a dialogue unfold. So Amanda was just talking about finger cots or finger condoms and saying that they're...
It's so you don't get your same-sex partner pregnant. As an AFAB person, I definitely want to make sure that my girlfriend does not get pregnant.
From your fingers.
From my fingers.
So that's not actually a thing, but us in the queer community love these jokes. So finger condoms or finger cots, you'll see them in a lot of cooking kitchens. Mm-hmm. And they're used to protect food from any kind of blood that you might have for cuts. It works the same for digital penetration. So when you're using your fingers in sex, it's a way to protect your partner from nicks and cuts that you might have on your finger, from nicks and cuts you might cause to them because of your nails. And it's just a way to keep things safer.
Also, way less annoying, I'm going to just jump in there, way less annoying than a full glove, oftentimes for things like anal sex.
Yeah.
Or anal penetration.
So gloves are our next one that would be involved in a safer sex kit if you were getting all the supplies. These are size extra small, so one of the things to note is you want gloves that actually fit. These are not them, but these are all I could get access to for this video. So I'm not going to try and put them on because it would be funny. Yeah.
It will be funny. It cuts off your circulation if you're wearing the wrong size glove, just saying. And that is not something that you really want to happen.
Or you can poke nails through.
Yeah, there's that too, which is also, oh, seriously, like.
That's extra small. Yeah.
No.
I generally wear medium or large. Yeah. The next thing that you can find in a safer sex kit would be lube. So generally water-based lube is the best because it doesn't interact with a lot of things, and if you're using it with toys or condoms or anything else, it doesn't break down material, so it's generally safer again. And it's just a clear jelly that is really Vaseline-like almost.
No, wrong texture.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same goop that they put on a belly when you get a ultrasound.
Yeah, literally. I think it's very similar.
It's got the same texture as aloe vera
There
gel.
we go. Yeah. So there's lube. And then there's different types of condoms as well. So a lot of condoms you get, they can be like just regular condoms. They'll generally, if you get the lifestyles ones, which a lot of harm reduction places will offer lifestyles, they tell you on the back what they are. So this one says they're lubricated. So when you open them up, you get a condom that has some of that lubrication on it. However, some people have allergies or don't like lubrication, and the brown ones, and it will say on the back, non-lubricated. And these ones are literally just a dry, powdery condom.
Like a powdered latex glove almost.
Yeah, very similar. And there are non-latex condoms we could get as well. I couldn't get my hands on any for this video, unfortunately. And the final thing, condom-wise, that's really useful that a lot of folks don't actually see or use, it's often referred to as a female condom, but in spirit of like actually understanding that we don't need to assign sex or ascribe this to any particular body type, we generally call it an internal condom, because what happens is you would put it on internally, and I'm using my teeth, you're not really supposed to. I know.
You can put holes in them and then they are no longer
They don't work.
safer.
Yeah, don't ever use your teeth. I just did that because it's a video and we're not actually using them. So this is what an internal condom looks like. It has a big ring on this end and then kind of a rubber ring on the inside. And what you would do is you'd fold this ring and put it internally, either into the vagina or into the anus. You can also use it for anal sex.
Nice.
Yeah.
Of course you can.
I know
never
a lot
thought
of
it.
people don't, which is why it's really necessary to label it internal anyways, because it's just a condom that you wear internally rather than externally on a penis. And so you would just put it in, allow the ring to pop in place, and this stays on the outside, and then whatever you're inserting into it would fit straight into it like so.
Okay, so can I rave about these for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the most fantastic condoms for folks with vaginas. The ring winds up sitting just, depending on your body, the ring winds up sitting just on the outside of your cervix, much like a diaphragm would, if anybody's familiar with that. My favorite thing about these condoms, besides the fact that they warm up to the body, so folks with penises who are like, I don't want a condom, I don't like the way it feels, they can't feel this.
Yeah.
They can't tell. The other thing is, because this portion sits outside your body, so it actually folds a little bit over your labia, it adds protection. So there's less skin-on-skin contact as well. So that little feature right there, that tiny little feature, is one of my favorite aspects of that, is actually adds a little bit more protection for you.
I like that. And also, one thing I couldn't get is a dental dam. And what dental dams are is they're either some kind of material, whether latex or non-latex, that you would generally put over genitals when you're having oral sex, particularly when you're looking at any kind of oral sex that has to do with somebody's anus or vagina or vulva.
Fluid sharing.
Yeah.
Fluid sharing.
So you generally just, as a protection for both parties. So what you can do is you can take a regular condom and take scissors to the top and bottom and cut it off. And then very gently, so you don't puncture it, you cut down one side and it will open like a square. And you can use that as a dental dam. So what you're supposed to do is put it over wherever your mouth is going and then put your mouth on top of that. And that way you're not exchanging fluids.
Also, if you're switching between areas, going anus to anywhere else, get another dam, get another condom, always.
Yeah.
Always.
Definitely
Always.
not a good idea to reuse stuff at that point, because now we're looking at some bacterial infections.
Just gonna jump in here and soapbox on your video a little.
No, that's fine. Although this isn't
No, it's about packing safer sex.
yeah,
supplies.
I know. But I can talk about this stuff forever. Also, there can be flavored condoms. These ones are banana. I don't actually think, have you ever used a flavored condom?
I hate them all. They're all so gross.
It tastes kind of like a banana ice cream popsicle, but more slimy.
Yeah, no, the strawberry ones, the apple ones are like the worst.
I hate the vanilla ones because they look identical to the lubricated regular condoms, and I don't think anybody would want a flavored condom in their junk.
No, you really actually don't want a flavored condom
Right.
in your junk.
That
Therefore,
could cause
horrible.
issues. Yeah. So, but there we have it. I just really, in my class video on UVic campus, have sucked on a flavored condom in public, and I'm getting looked at, so this is fantastic. Subversive. Okay, carrying on. So those are all the things that you could find in like safer sex supplies that you might want to access. When packing safer sex kits, actually I don't pack whole kits. I just use individual items and keep them separate and labeled so folks know what they're getting. However, for safer use kits, I'll pack a lot of things together. Would you be willing to pass me one of those brown bags? So this is a safer use injection kit.
This, I have nothing to add to.
Okay. Can we put that back on? Okay. So this is a kit that we put together, and you'll see it in the PowerPoint, exactly what goes into it, but I'm going to go over what each of the items are. And we're going to pack this for somebody who uses any kind of injectable drug in which they're using them for IV or intravenous use. So in a kit, you're going to have needles. Generally, you're going to have 1 cc needles. However, there are some folks who will ask for half cc. It's just not common. People generally want to get more of a drug, and cc's are just a unit of measurement, and you get 100 units per cc. The next thing you're going to have in the kit is a cooker. This one's SteriCut brand. Do you want to try and open?
Let's take a look.
So this is where somebody might cook their drugs. A lot of drugs need to be heated before they can be mixed with water and dragged up into a syringe. And so you get a metal piece with a holder to kind of protect it, which isn't as nice as it should be. It should slide in. I haven't done this for a long time. I just pack the kits now. Okay, yeah. So what people do is they generally put their drug into here, and they would have a lighter and they'd heat it underneath. Some people you might see on TV, they use spoons. The reason why that isn't a safer use product is because it could be contaminated, where these come in sterile things, so you know that they're safe and clean. And then once somebody cooks up their drugs, there's also a little piece of cotton that's in there. Yeah. So the cotton people put down, and then they put their needle into the cotton to draw up drugs into the needle. And the reason is because certain drugs don't completely dissolve.
Filter.
It's a filter.
Nice.
Yeah. And then also you might see vitamin C or absorbic acid in injectable kits. And what this is it helps drugs dissolve. And so folks sometimes will put vitamin C into, particularly heroin, if you're trying to cook up heroin and it can have chunks. The thing with vitamin C is they give you a packet. It's way too much. You want to use like a tenth of this packet of powder. And it literally is just, again, I'm using my teeth. Never use your teeth. Do as I say, not as I do. It's just a powder. And I don't even know if the video can pick up on that, but it looks like salt, and it literally is just absorbic acid. It's vitamin C. It's what they put into orange juice and everything else. Yeah, but people sprinkle a bit of that in, and when they cook up, it helps dissolve. Now, when you're cooking things up, you need to cook them up with water, and that's what turns it to a liquid that you can then inject. So we also try and give little vials of water, and that's because it's sterile. Because if folks don't have access to clean water, there's so many bathrooms that don't let people use if they're not buying something. And so these are just a way for people to then have water to dump in the cooker. Because the reality is if somebody wants to get high and they don't have access to clean water, they're resourceful and they're going to find puddles. They're going to find other things that definitely you do not want to go into somebody's veins ever. And they don't want to go in their own veins. They just don't have access to anything. So the water would go in, and it all gets cooked up, and then they just draw it up. And the final thing that you'd see, final two things, is alcohol pads. I try and keep them in there. A lot of folks don't use them. I still like it available for people to use. And a tie. And this is what you generally see where if somebody uses a belt or something else, but this is a sterile product, it's rubber. We ask that people don't reuse them if possible. But this is what people will tie up around their arm to cut off a blood circulation so that they can find a vein and inject properly. So those are the items in the safer injection kit. And generally we put these in brown paper bags. Oftentimes we try and put the same ratio of everything. So if you have 2 needles, you're going to have 2 cookers and 2 alcohol swabs and 2 waters. A lot of times I'll just make a one-use kit and then give people extra needles, because the reality is folks will throw a lot of the stuff away depending on who's using. And so it's just an awareness that that might happen. So I like to at least have people walk away with one of everything. And then if they want extra needles, I'll give them. Sometimes I will pack kits of 3 or 5 of everything. And in the PowerPoint, it definitely shows what things go in the kit. I just wanted to give a more up close, this is what all the items look like. Do you have any questions about this stuff? That is to keep moisture out.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So this comes in the SteriCup package. It's not used for anything. It's just to keep it sterile and not get any moisture. Cool.
Nice.
So I'm going to do that. If you can pass me the other bag. Now we're going to look at the safer smoking kit. So again, brown paper bag. So there's a lot less items in this kit. We have the glass crack pipe. So this is a safer smoking kit for crack. It is not a safer smoking kit for crystal meth.
Different pipe.
Yeah. Crack is also known as rock. It comes as like a hard rock-looking thing that you can put in the pipe. Crystal meth is actual shards of crystals that look kind of like bath salts, and when you heat them, they go liquid. And so when you're smoking crack, the reality is it stays a solid, so you don't have to worry about it dripping into your mouth, where with meth, it will and can burn right through your lips. And then there's generally a plastic attachment, and that just provides more room away from the mouth for protection of any shards coming through or anything like that. A lot of people use this to smoke meth. It's super dangerous, and I highly recommend a meth pipe because it keeps the meth liquid separate from your mouth at all times. The next piece you'll find is this little white thing, and these are the filters. So there's a lot per package. So a filter and a push stick. And what you do...
You're blowing my mind over here.
...is folks will put the filter in with the push stick. Yep, you put the little rock inside, and then they light at this end and smoke and inhale. And it protects them from any bits falling, things like that. With meth, people would use this where they just let the meth sit and heat it and let the kind of liquid go back and forth. But the risk is that if it comes down and any of the liquid goes into your mouth, it is super chemically and hot, and it can burn right through your mouth. Super dangerous. So even though a lot of folks refer to this as a safer smoking kit, I would like to clarify in saying it's absolutely a safer smoking crack kit. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Any questions about these guys?
So what would be the reason that you would want to supply something like this?
Because oftentimes when people use crack to smoke, they'll break light bulbs, or find other, it's really super, resilient ways of, finding things to use. However, when we're looking at light bulbs, we have broken glass, there's a whole bunch of things. People can cut themselves. We're looking at unclean products. People might smoke crack off a pop can, and then you're inhaling some of the aluminum. So this is just a way where you're guaranteed to have a clean piece of glass. You have a separate thing so you don't burn yourself. And then you have a filter, so you don't have to worry so much about ash getting into your lungs. The thing about this piece of glass too is you can actually use it for safer snorting. So instead of smoking crack, for instance, if you're snorting coke, if you have your own tool, this is a Pyrex glass. It's really hard to break. I'm putting so much strength, and I'm trusting it's not breaking.
I'm watching you. You're doing that.
Yeah. I could probably throw it onto the concrete where we're by right now, and it would probably still be whole. So it's a lot safer in terms of you're not going to worry about glass breaking. A lot of folks reuse these. We suggest they don't. However, if people do, we also give them alcohol wipes, and then you can also put the alcohol wipe into here with the push stick and kind of just give it a little clean out.
Nice.
Yeah. But again, we recommend that people use fresh supplies as much as possible. But, we got to prepare for the reality of the situation. Sometimes people won't have fresh ones, so we try and provide them stuff to help. We do highly recommend people don't share these. And a lot of times I notice folks will bring their own rubber tubing. And so they'll share the metal, but they won't share the rubber tubing. And the rubber tubing is what touches your mouth. So,
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. We're on UVic campus right now, and there's some folks playing guitar in the background. So we have some music to our video. Any questions from either the safer sex, the safer smoking, or safer injection stuff?
No, but I'm really happy to see the safer use products. That's not, I've seen them around, but haven't actually seen them. One thing that I will say, as somebody who wanders around downtown Victoria a lot and has spent a lot of time in different areas, with the safer injection kits, I see those dumped a lot.
Yeah.
I see bits and pieces tossed aside a lot, and it's not after use. So you talking about folks tossing those away, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something.
Yeah. And I mean, folks generally know what to ask for. So I'll generally hear people say, can I get one, safe injection kit, and then 5 1cc needles. And that's totally cool. I mean, the main thing, we want folks to be using clean needles. Everything else is kind of negligible risk compared to needle sharing or just dirty needles in general. And I remember I used to work for a needle exchange in Vancouver 10 years ago. And we would actually give out little vials of bleach for people to clean their needles. That is unheard of now.
No.
That is so last resort. It's still so risky because the reality is with a needle, different transmittable diseases, but particularly like the fear is HIV for sure, it doesn't live in air. So the kind of fear of like, oh, HIV from a toilet seat or things like that, that's not actually a thing. And the thing with a needle is it's really hard for air to actually reach in here. So the virus can actually live in the tip of a needle for a little while.
Okay.
And so even if somebody's like cleaning it out by pulling up bleach and pushing out bleach, if they're not getting everything, and it's almost impossible to get everything, there is a risk of a virus still living within the head of the needle. So also, I just realized as I'm putting this cap back on, I'm diabetic, so I'm generally used to putting caps on my needles. But you should never put a needle cap back on a needle like I just did. Again, do as I say, not as I do. The risk, I mean, if it's your own needle, you risk poking yourself. It's your own, stuff you have to worry about. But when you're putting a cap on a needle, the risk of like it sliding and poking your fingers is really dangerous. So if ever you find a needle, generally you want to use tongs, but depending on your kind of experience with needles, people will sometimes just pick them up here and then have the risk alleviated of being poked, and then put it in needle disposal. I remember a long time ago, again, they taught us how to break the tip of the needle
that's
off.
what I was going to say. I have family who are diabetics, and they break the tip of their needle before disposing.
That's not recommended for harm reduction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
And again, so a lot of these things are kind of fast and loose. The harm reduction is about reducing harm, mitigating harm as much as possible, but we know these things aren't harm-free. Oh, there's sacks now. That's impressive. These things aren't without risk, so it's kind of a calculated risk. Some people will make different decisions than others. So just providing you with all the information so you know.
It's reducing harm, not completely removing it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.